Welcome to the Ali Hart podcast. You're so welcome here. I'm a mum of three boys, and my husband is called Michael. I'm a professional artist of over 20 years. I sell my work worldwide, and I teach you how to paint on YouTube and in person workshops. Not only that, but grief is a huge part of the conversation for me. And mostly, I want you to show up as your most true and authentic self. As a child who suffered grief from the age of 7, I am constantly seeking joy in my everyday. Let's get discussing, and I hope that you enjoy the episode. And welcome. Today, we are talking about being misunderstood as an artist. It is one of those age-old things that we all experience. Anybody in the creative space, even whenever our children are creative and you see they're a little bit different, and they're maybe not all sporty, they feel it and we feel it, and it's just about navigating that. So I'm going to go through a few things today. We're going to go through how you speak in public, just to person with people about your art, whether you're in the beginning, whether you're intermediate, advanced, whether you're building a business, or you've just picked it up as a hobby in 2026, which is what we're in. We're going to look at online trolls. How lovely, feeling misunderstood by the World Wide Web. And then we're going to look at feedback on your art. I'm going to tell you about a few experiences I've had. And then just about like being misunderstood by agencies and galleries and things like that. But real quick before we get delving in, I have finally done it, guys. I have made you the cheat sheet for personal branding, and it's specific to creatives. So you know that I work one-to-one, and that's obviously a higher end price bracket. But I've been talking about it on this podcast for about a year and a half. And I've said I'm going to price it at $39.99. And what I can tell you is it's broken down into 4 modules. I actually do believe that it crosses really well into if you're actually learning how to paint, especially learning how to paint loose, which I put myself out there as the expert in, and I want to teach you from my own expertise slash experience. But it is 4 modules. One is confidence. The other is storytelling. The other one is longevity. And then there's self-acceptance, which if you go right back to the start of all of my podcasts, if you go back to my social media from the very beginning, you will see that self-acceptance is so important. So really quickly, I just want to tell you that that is finally live. I will put the link in the show notes, but let me know how you're feeling as well. Find me on social media. Let me know how you found me. Just to give you a quick recap on my year so far. It's only started. What I wanted, I could recap on 2025, but all you need to do is look at my social media and my About Me page on my website to see that it has been a good one. I like to be fully transparent with you. So actually, the being misunderstood bit today comes from my own experience of people seeing me at 42, pushing the kind of social media aside and not understanding. And also people not understanding that when people are in full-time work and have chosen to be in a job, they're basically in golden handcuffs, right? So that's why I always talk to my mentoring students about if you step away from that, you're stepping away from the golden handcuffs. And what that means is stepping away from the consistency of income. And that might seem really simple because you might have gone straight from college, school into work. So you know what that's like to have a monthly wage. When we make the life choice like I have, to not have the consistency in my income and to very much live in my business. So my business and I are so intertwined. It can be really hard for friends and family and anybody really who's not in it to understand the pressure and the fear of whenever you actually lose a sale, or when something doesn't go well for you, or when a promotion really falls flat on its face, or you have a workshop and nobody buys the tickets for. That is very hard to portray to people, that to get to pay our taxes, we still have to make the money to begin with. It's not like we just get this money and then we give a little bit to tax. You have to physically bring that money in through all your marketing, all your expertise, all your sharing online. So that the whole premises of this today comes from that, from me. Even at 42, feeling like I'm always telling you to pivot in your business and to pivot in what you're doing in life, and go by for anyone in business, it goes a lot by the economy in the world, but equally by your avatar, who is your person, who your business is promoting to. That can change as you get older. And just and looking at seasonal things, of Hallmark holidays, if it's like gift ideas that you have, like all of that feeds into how we pivot. And for me right now in 2026, I am pivoting very much into the online space. And it's so interesting. I'm recording this on the 5th of January and I feel really tired today. And I can say that I took Christmas Day off, but apart from that, I've worked. And I used to be so much more embarrassed about that, but I didn't go out in some social events because I really wanted to get that ebook made for you. And I want to stay true to my purpose of being driven and driving forward. The good thing about that is I can tell you that I am refreshing my TikTok constantly here because after 6 years of being on there, it is finally growing. A video has over 500,000 views on it, and the video just happens to be, which I'm so pleased about, not because it's a long form video, because when it's long form, if you get to the stage where you get like you become a content creator for them, then you do get paid for it being a longer video, but it's pennies, you know? So like if the stats come through on my TikTok and I post between 3 and 5 times a day on there, and I had done for 84 days before it really took off. Before that, I was still posting maybe 1, 2 times a day, like very consistently. So that's making content. And most of my videos are over 2 minutes because I just decide that I have to like put the whole subject in there and finish the what I'm saying. So they're not just me putting up 7 minute videos with little trending audio. And that meant that whenever a video has gone viral now, it's me teaching. So I tell you all the time that art is my best friend. Well, it really is. Like art is, and I want that for you too. I want you to feel like when you are, certainly if you're here and you're building a business and you don't know what to do, I will tell you always to come back to the art. And that's the very first point about being misunderstood as an artist that I want to share with you anyway, is you push back and just go back to your art. So the art is the answer to everything. So all of this admin, all of this digital marketing is just part of the process. It's not all of the process. Remember, your art is entirely the center. So this video on TikTok, which has 540,000 views at the minute, and it's just rising daily. I only posted on a Thursday, and this is Monday, and I've grown by 7,500 followers. This video is me being entirely myself. I want that for you too. I want whenever you have your moment, when everything pops off, they call it popping off for you. I want that to be when you are in your safest space. And that can feel like very vulnerable. You can feel very vulnerable when you're online and social media. But if for me, this video is me teaching, I thought I was doing a time lapse video of teaching a client about a year and a half ago. And it turned out it was actually a full video. So I was looking for content for last week and I came across it and I was like, amazing. I can bring that down. It was like 9 minutes or 10 minutes. And to give you full context of it, again, to encourage you to keep showing up entirely as yourself, it was the end of their hour-and-a-half session in Wonder on Mentoring. They wanted to basically do a quick painting, and I was like, we're going to do 10 minutes and we're going to do these flowers. So there's flowers, and we do a big canvas. She used a big canvas too. And I had to go and get my son from school. So it really is so time bound. I took out a lot of her saying, yeah, I have to do the school run, and me saying, I have to do the school run too. Let's get going. But I'm so comfortable with my mentoring students that even though you all know me on my YouTube and this kind of, alter ego of being even more expressive and even more excitable and even cheekier than I am normally, in that one video, I literally couldn't be any more myself. And I'm so excited for my client in it. It was really cool to edit it and watch it back myself because I thought obviously it was just going to be like a sped up version of me painting alongside her. I I'm so excited for it. I'm an encourager, and one of my other mentoring students who would come one to one with me in person, she always said that to me, and she's a teacher herself, and she said you're just an encourager, and I take that as a really good thing because with loose painting, it's so much about confidence that you have got to as a leader in that, I've got to show with confidence and make decisions very quickly so that you will do the same. And then that will bring your creativity to the forefront. But yeah, I just wanted to share that little bit is that like at the minute, I felt I feel tired because I've worked so much, like obsessively. And we were at a wedding, and my husband, I heard him say to someone, yeah, like she's so obsessed that she would rather sit next door and work than watch traders with us. So in the UK, it's really big at the minute. I'm sure there's one in America or across the world too. You can let me know. But our kids are quite into that. So they watch it with Michael, and I just don't bother. Instead, I would work. And the reason that I do is because I love it. And I do believe in the dream. So I believe in the dream for you too. And the only way that is going to come about is hard work. So let's get in to, excuse me, feeling misunderstood as an artist. That big one is coming back to your art. I'm going to go through these few little points. Um, Feeling at peace with the fact that others don't understand. When other people don't understand us, it can bring us into defensive mode. I don't defend myself online whenever people are mean, but I did have this habit of thanking them for their comments and thanking them for helping the algorithm. Until last week, I had this realization where, especially strangers, and for you, it'll be the same for strangers. It's different when it's people that you know. Obviously, there's exactly the same feeling of being misunderstood. But whenever it's people online, I don't know them. They're unlikely to change my world entirely. And by rattling them more or giving them more airtime, then that's actually fueling the fire that I don't need to fuel. I am competitive and I want to win in this game of, I guess, entrepreneurship slash creative business. So that's detrimental to me. And when you have that peace, so the same with when you're standing in front of someone and or they're in front of your art, whether it's online or in person, but feeling peace about the fact that they don't understand is really liberating. And I would recommend that you do what you need to do to feel that peace. So for me, I've written down some of the things, or like I would do a brain dump, and I talk a lot about that in general anyway. A brain dump is where you basically bring out a piece of paper. It's also in The Artist's Way, which is a really good book. If you can't read it or do all the challenges in written form, you can get it on audio, and it's great. And you can just like nod your head when you're out for your walk and be like, oh my goodness, I'm going to give this a go. But one of the things that she talks about is a bit like my brain dump, in that she does like 3 pages of morning pages, they're called. But for you, getting peace, a brain dump is basically where you bring out a page and you just take out whatever's in your brain. And I've talked about it on here before. It's really good from a grief point of view. My dad died when I was 7. So sometimes I act very much like a child in grief and want to run away. So the best way for me to not run away is to sit with a piece of paper and take all of those feelings and just dump them on the page. They never need to go anywhere. They never need to be seen by anyone, but they are out of your head, which brings you a little bit more peace. And that peace might help you to feel more relaxed about the fact that people will not understand. Another thing that I find peace in is there's something really nice, and this speaks to you if you are building a creative business, or if you have found me because you're learning how to paint loose and want to be more confident in your painting. There is such a satisfaction with knowing that those people that are opinionated or that don't understand you, knowing that they would never do it, right? Like, I understand you. And there are thousands of millions all over the world who understand you and the difficulty of being a creative. I don't mean just artists, I mean the arts in general. I mean music, poetry, writers, like violinists, musicians, singers, songwriters. All of us are in this pool where we actually do understand the work that it takes. And I have to let myself feel a little peace and a little bit of joy, to be honest, about the fact that people can say what they want. People can project onto you because people will project their fears. A lot of people, especially who know you, will project fears onto you, that their own fears, their own feelings of, you can't do this. This is insane. This is a pipe dream. You're losing money. You're doing too much. All of this comes from a place of fear, but there's definitely a little spark for all of us knowing that they wouldn't do it. And that definitely comes through. Well, that's why I listen to a lot of entrepreneurs and self-employed people, because I know that they stay up late and I know that they put in 16 to 18 hours, a day if they need to. Like me on Boxing Day, I got up really early. The day after Christmas Day, we hosted here. There was 11 of us. It was so nice. Maybe there was 12, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. Sorry, 11. And I had a beautiful Christmas Day. Really easy, so fun, really, really yummy gravy, by the way. We made the make ahead gravy, which is Jamie Oliver's. And my son is celiac, so often he is the gravy that we make is like very similar and samey. Like yesterday, I made a roast dinner and it was just so samey. Pardon me. But we made this gravy ahead with gluten-free flour. And it was so tasty. I think it made the dinner. It elevated the dinner. But in the morning of Boxing morning, I got up. My mum had stayed overnight. The place was still, no, it wasn't too bad, much of a mess, but putting away, cutlery and whatever. And I was like, I'm going to do a live. And I'd been awake from 4 in the morning thinking about it. And I was like, I'm going to do 2 hours, 3 times a week. And we're starting today. And I'm going to do these lives. So I know that those wacky ideas only really sit with us as creatives, but also us who want to move forward with where we are, who have ideas and want to bring those ideas to fruition. So the people often that are writing mean things online or saying mean things to you, and even if they're not mean, if they just don't understand and they are quite critical, they wouldn't do it. That actually means you have a superpower because you have an idea. And it's like the video with TikTok, to come back to that. I kept seeing videos and I kept being pretty envious of a lot of artists who don't give value, who just come on and share their art and they spin it around and they say, I'm an artist and this is my painting. And I was really jealous, openly, I'll tell you that. Like, I was jealous of the fact that they were getting so much airtime and so many followers. And I just stayed true to the fact that I wanted to teach people, to show my art, but to show it in a way that hopefully gives value to them, inspires them to do something like one of my demos, etc., etc. And I heard this video and it said, funny, they laugh at you until it's not funny. And I feel a bit like that at the minute. It feels like you were crazy, Ali, and my kids did laugh at me. My teenagers and my son, my youngest son, do this impression of me saying, my name's Ali Hart, hashtag da da da. So last night they did, the two big boys were like, Mom, well done, you did it. And it's funny until it isn't, right? They mock you until it works. And that's just what you've got to keep in mind in here. Okay, so in public, talking about your work. I did a little short video on this on TikTok, and what I want to say about that is I was at a wedding. Normally I would be like, yeah, my art's doing really well, thank you so much. But it was all teachers there, and they were, I think, genuinely quite interested. And even if they weren't, I talked a lot. And I found one guy, he was chatting and he's really nice. And he was asking me about what I do, and he's my husband's friend. So the three of us were chatting. And I was able to share with him because the TikTok had just started to blow up, and not feeling bad or embarrassed about that. And then I had another conversation, and I want you to give your art the airtime that it needs. And even if you're just at the start of your journey, or you've just like made your first post on social media, talk about it, because that is your life. And I'm sitting in my bedroom recording this. Over to my right is a window across, and you look across to my neighbor, my beautiful neighbor. They are so gorgeous. They're 90 and 89. and he just passed away. And they were here, amazing, present until literally 3 months ago. Both of them fell and everything changed. I'm telling you that because life is short. Life is so short. And if this is what is fueling you at the minute, share it with someone. So I chatted to another guy who was like, I just don't get abstract. Like, can you help me understand it? Can you unravel that a little bit more? And I did. And I'm not shy of an opinion anyway, but it was so great to give it airtime. And my husband, who's very sweet, pulled up his phone and was like showing images and videos. And for a minute, I feel a bit like uncomfortable, like, ugh, I'm taking all the space here. And then I was like, I've listened to them chat all day. This is my little space to feel understood. And even if they don't, let's go back to it's okay, right? Like we're doing something different, and that will attract and repel. And then another conversation I had was with a guy, an architect who was openly said to my husband, like, I don't want to talk to you. I want to talk about the art. I was chatting about selling to Portugal, and he was asking me about different things. And he said, like it's very hot, no one really is a creative and a businesswoman. I was like, I just like to say at the age of 42, I can tell you that I very much am both, and it's not the norm, but I'm here to hold that space for people. So that's about in public. Talk about your work in public. Then online trolls. Online trolls have the power to really feel like I feel it in my tummy, and that's not I'm not saying that so people will go easy on me, or that it will be trolls have the power to really derail me. And I should be able to say, like, I'm so, bulgy and confident, and I'm really confident in my practice. But when I open the apps that are really getting traction at the minute, I do, like, even if it is about my art, even if it is about my hair, or even if it is about my accent, it still doesn't feel nice. And that's another way that we feel misunderstood as creatives. I have so many years experience, 16 years experience, and 3 to 4 years of people certainly telling me that I paint like a child. Then add to that, you go online and you show your teaching skills, which you're so proud of, and you have brought so much value, and you've brought along so many. Like, I've been teaching art online for years, and during COVID, I grew the business by 300% because I just taught hundreds of people week in, week out. I taught kids who were in the care system online. I taught kids with learning disabilities online. I taught primary school kids online. I then taught adults who were in different facilities online. I then taught adults just who wanted a social engagement. I taught hen parties. So I have so many years of experience that I should be fine. But whenever you get them, it still doesn't feel nice. Or like someone said, where is your light and shade on this? Do you hate painting? And so much of me wants to, as I was saying at the start, like, you want to defend yourself and you want to go down this whole spiel about, like, well, no, actually, this is loose painting and blah, blah. But there's just sometimes that silence is better. And that is what I'm finding with online trolls. And you might feel like they really derattle you as well. So I vow to continue to push forward, to take some of that slack for you, and to navigate it so that when it comes to you, you feel peace and you don't get rattled and you feel still confident. So ways around that so that it doesn't derail you are what I was saying at the start. Always come back to your art. Always come back to your art. For those in the back, always come back to your art. The art has the answer. And like you're building muscle in your bicep, that only happens by eating the right food and by lifting weights. And by lifting weights repetition after repetition, regularly, consistently. Your art will only inform you and feed your confidence the more you do it. And that's what I've loved the most about this video having almost 600,000 views. The amount of people who feel happy to share their go at they've given the demo that is all going viral, they've given it a go, and they share it in the comments, and they say things like, I'm a beginner, or they say things like, I was a top A student and I haven't picked up a paintbrush in 20 years, and they show me what they've made. That is where life is really, really exciting. That is where I have actually done my job of giving confidence to people and giving them a space that is safe enough to share their work. And that is what I want. So my mission is to ignore the trolls, and the same for you, and to let the art tell the story. So you just have to keep reminding yourself of that. And lastly, I just want to say about agencies and galleries. So I've been very bad at pushing the door on galleries for a long time now, and I feel remarkably okay about it. I think that my work has transitioned into I sell predominantly myself. I have my own solo exhibitions, and now, as I said to you in the last podcast, I am getting accepted onto residencies, and my work is getting accepted into group exhibitions. There was one in Berlin, and now I have another one locally here in Northern Ireland. Those, it feels like a shift in the work. So you're not with galleries so that I'm not with galleries so that I make money and I'm in a commercial space. The galleries that I think about, that I used to really admire, are they're showing more and more to me that they are just commercial, and they take on artists because artists have big following, or the artists are already selling, because it is a business after all. For me, it's more about like contemporary art spaces. You might not feel like that. You might feel like you've been rejected, but every no just keeps you motivated. Any of the no's I've had, they just keep me motivated. And any of those emails that say thank you very much, but no thank you, they keep you motivated. They don't close it for you. Don't let it stop you. Instead, it will fuel you, and it will continue to inform you of what you need to do. So the one thing about being consistent in any space is that you want to be so good at it that you have to get better. And that's why I find it like, if you want to get good at painting, then you have to keep doing. With me on social media, on TikTok, I had to get better by doing. And by doing made me better. But I was getting so frustrated that things weren't getting traction that I was doing everything in my power to get better. But there was agencies, and there have been agencies that don't want to take me on because I'm too small. So you can feel misunderstood by galleries. You can feel misunderstood by agencies, and you feel too small, or you want to get a virtual assistant and they want to work for someone bigger. There are many experiences that I've had, and let's bring it back to the art and bring it back to your vision. You have your own goals, and whenever they close the door from you, they're actually giving you the keys to just keep going yourself. Does that make sense? Like, you, they are saying to you, no, thank you. You're not for our little pod, but that just gives you freedom to build your own pod, or to keep going, because they talk about, you need 100 no's and then you get a yes, and that's what you want. So I'm applying every month at the minute to exhibitions, galleries, opportunities, and then I'm just letting go of it. So you do that. You basically ask and you let go. And if you don't receive, then you let go. So detaching yourself. So the more that we do, so that's why consistency is the one thing for when you're misunderstood, when you are doing anything in life. Consistency will inform you. It will help you get better. It will help you find your voice and your style, and it will detach you from the outcome. The more you do, so that's the same with me with online trolls. The more I do, the more I don't speak to them or react, the easier it becomes, the more I detach myself. So for you, the same. I want you to talk about your art in public, but if you feel like it's falling like a lead balloon, you just move on to the next. You just change the direction that you like. We all know how to win friends and influence people. I know that you're a good conversationalist, so just trust yourself in that. And then lastly, I just want to say, to help you being misunderstood, keep your circle really close. So at Christmas, when I was giving up on going to social events, my circle of friends understood. And it's hard for me to say that I'm working, because my work is so fluid and it works around so much of my life and always has. But they respected that. So if you have the right people in the right circle, and that's what we go into in the mentoring package, the cheat sheets, creatives, a creative's cheat sheet to personal branding. We go into you, and the self-acceptance and knowing you starts with who are your people, who is your circle. So your circle will help and protect and respect you. And they'll also tell you right, like they will keep you right if things are, maybe you did have a conversation and it was a bit off, or it was a bit narcissistic. Well, I'm sure the person in your circle will say to you, like my husband could say to me very easily, hence he said, She works so much that she missed traders. And then the last thing I want to say is remember, there is absolutely no blueprint for being an artist. There is no right or wrong way. The clarity on that I had in 2025 as I looked at people who did PhDs but who don't have an online presence. As I looked at, so these, I'm talking about my own peers, right? Who I met with people, friends who are in an art sector job but are not making their own art. I talk to people who are art teachers and who only make in the summer and just don't know how to align their goals because they've got the golden handcuffs of a wage every month. Then there's other people that I know who are doing so well in the contemporary art space but never sell a piece. It is so great and liberating when you remember that you do not, there's no right or wrong way to do it. And if I remind you of anything, it's painting loose gives you freedom. And painting loose translates really well into running a creative business. You have freedom. You do what you need to do. And I was speaking to another friend who's in the creative space who's doing so well. But we were talking, and we both agreed. We were like, we will do whatever we need to do to pay our mortgage at the minute, right? Like, obviously within reason and within our creative space as much as we can. But no job can be too small if you're hungry and you're driven and you want to keep going and moving forward. And if you're sacrificing one thing for another thing to grow. So for me, sacrifice clients, making paintings for clients and commissions so that I can grow my online space. Like that's taking a sacrifice. So then I have to make monies in other ways. You know, like it kind of, there's always a way to remind yourself that you're in the right place at the right time. So with that being said, feeling misunderstood as an artist is part of the beautiful tapestry of life and of getting to be here. And I'm so proud of you wherever you're at because it is not easy and they would not do it. And you have to remember that the next time you get something that rattles you, they would not do what you do. And you're not going to change them. So you have to keep focused on your own path and trust and follow. And remember, people like me are here to champion in you and be your little cheerleader on your shoulder. Have a wonderful day. Go check out my $39.99. Use the code AliFaves for 10% off at the checkout. And it is your cheat sheet to personal branding. And then, of course, if you want to help your loose painting, we have my 2-hour masterclass. And it is so many people have loved that over Christmas. And I've got to use all my feedback and put it into a post. But have a wonderful day. You've got this. I'll see you on the other side. Thanks so much for taking the time to listen to my podcast. And I really hope that you can share it with someone who will also get value from this. Have a wonderful day. And remember to subscribe so that you get the rest of my episodes and enjoy the backlog. Have a wonderful day.